after being arrested for raping a 2-year-old girl so severely that he damaged her private parts. The remorseless 63-year-old religious leader had just 7 words to explain why he sexually tortured the helpless toddler. While other major world religions have progressed and reformed throughout history, Islam has remained exactly the same since its founding over 1,400 years ago. And of course, the ideology and its intrinsic inseparable law are prohibited from reformation and progress solely because the Quran's explicit commands dictate every aspect of human life. As such, child marriage, sexual slavery, persecution of religious minorities, female oppression, and systematic violence are indelible characteristics in these communities, thanks to the Prophet Muhammad's modeling and divine justification of each. Although these human rights violations occur in every society, only Islam boasts a holy book, prophet, and God which command and reward such behavior. On March 9, Justice Margaret Mutonyi of the Mukono High Court in Lugazi Municipality, Uganda, sentenced 63-year-old Imam Musa Mulo to life in prison for the brutal rape of a 2-year-old girl in 2012. As gut-wrenching as the details of the heinous crime are, Mulo's excuse added an extra layer of disturbance to the case. While pleading guilty to sexually assaulting a 2-year-old girl to the point of damaging her genitals, the elderly Imam, who has 3 wives, justified his reprehensible actions by claiming that he never intended to harm the child but just saw my zipper opening by itself, prompting him to go ahead and rape the toddler, according to the Daily Monitor. Justice Mutonyi gave Mulo the harshest punishment possible, life in prison, citing him as a dangerous person who must be kept away from children at all costs. His excuse only confirmed her assertion, as the Imam appeared completely remorseless and placed the blame for his sadistic perversion on supernatural manipulation. Fortunately, he will serve out his sentence at Luzira prison for the remainder of his life. Mulo, who made a living preaching at Kibubbu Mosque in the Buikwe District, managed to garner support from the Muslim community, which resorted to violence upon hearing the victim's accusation, Uganda 7 reports. After the girl's mother, known only by the last name Nalia Masi, filed a police report against the rapist, a mob of Muslims stormed her home, destroying the property over claims that she had blasphemed against their religious leader. After the mother's house was razed, Mulo disturbingly confessed to raping the child. In 2012, Mulo reportedly led the toddler into his home, which is not far from her mother's house. While there, he picked up the child and proceeded to violently rape her, causing noticeable damage to her genitals. After having his way with the girl, he callously sent her back to her home. Upon seeing her child's injuries, the mother asked a neighbor if they knew what had happened to her daughter. The bystander confirmed that they had witnessed Imam Mulo grab the child and take her into his home before later sending her on her way. It was then that Nalia Masi went to the police, who arrested the Imam for possible sexual assault of a minor child. While the West finds sexual acts performed on children to be particularly inhumane and immoral, this practice is not only justified in Islam, it was modeled by the one man to whom Allah gave authority to interpret the Quran. After claiming that it was Allah's will, Muhammad convinced his closest companion, Abu Bakr, to allow him to marry his 6-year-old daughter, Aisha. The then 53-year-old Mohammed consummated his marriage to his 9-year-old bride, showcasing that Islam allows for men to marry and have intercourse with prepubescent girls. And of course, Islamic marriage only applies to Muslims. As for those who are unbelievers, Mohammed used the Quran to explain that non-Muslim women and girls may be taken as sex slaves. Rape and pedophilia may not be exclusive to Islam, but they are justified by the Quran and Hadith, as well as Muhammad's own actions. No ideology that commands such barbarities should ever be accepted, tolerated, or respected as a religion.